Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Calibria Crystal Guardians. Today's episode, we're going to go over Vampire. For today, I want to go over specifically why Vampire is a very good unit and why everybody needs to actually look into building this guy. Everybody asks me all the time, what can I do to make a speed run or a more reliable run? Or any number of different things. And one of the easier units to get, there's many ways to do so, but one of the easier ways that you can do it is with this Nat 4. The Vampire is known for a couple things, but mostly this skill right here. Summons a pool of blood, just attacks all enemies, and he can disable passive skills for 2 turns and silence their active skills for 1 turn. It says 80%, but as you can see, mine's fully skilled up, so it's a 100% chance. So, you have a 100% chance to disable the passive and the actual active skills, which is a very, very effective skill. Mine is a little bit oddly built, because it's not really tanky. I wouldn't advise newer players to build it exactly like this, and I'll tell you why, but I built it more for this to help speed up the team a little bit. This skill does a good nice chunk of damage, and then if it crits, restores allies' energy, which just makes it speed up the run just a little bit more. So, with this, I went with Berserk and Conflict. Don't need these rune sets, you can go with any number of ones. Berserk is the best one for him. It means he gets more turns, means he gets all those skills down more often. But Agile is a good secondary one, or realistically any rune build. He doesn't need any specific set, but aim for Berserk eventually. Now the way I built him is with speed, crit rate, and hit. The crit rate is just like I said for the faster run. If you want a more reliable run, you should switch this out for an HP one. So HP would be better and more reliable. But you do want him on hit or have a lot of hit in his substats because you want that skill to hit. You want this skill to land on the enemy as often as you can. Mine's 74% hit, but the rune isn't all the way up, and I just kind of went with it. 74 seems like it should land pretty often. I haven't ran into any issues with him yet. Did a little bit of testing with him earlier, and he did alright. But this is the basic build. You're going to probably go speed, HP, and hit. I went speed, crit rate, and hit if you want to actually speed up your run a little bit. So this will help speed up. If you can get that rune quality, then go with it. But this is the basic build. Now, I did this because everybody wanted to see what an alternative for my Monkey King was. Because this skill on Monkey King disables passives. And I kept mentioning it in the other videos. You can use Vampire. Well, I've been using Monkey King in all my dungeon runs. Well, let's just throw him in storage. And now it'll be Vampire. And now you'll be able to see me use him in Colossus, Magic, and we could try Arena, but I don't think we'll be going there because he's not Arena built. So, we'll go in here. We'll start off with Magic. Same build, same team with the Bone King from the last video. Spider Queen and all this. You can do it with multiple other teams. The key to this is he makes it more reliable. Mine is built for a speedier run, but if you do the HP run, it can be more of a reliable run because on these bosses, this is what screws a lot of newer players over, is this passive right here. Whenever the boss hits 50% HP, he revenges and does a nice big damage skill, and it really wrecks a lot of newer players. Well, with Vampire, he gets rid of that passive. If he uses this skill on the boss, it silences that passive, so whenever the boss reaches 50% HP, doesn't do anything back. He doesn't use that passive at all. So in the end, you actually don't have to worry about that boss's passive at all. So now you just got to do whatever you need to beat the boss itself while he's using this skill. So, there you go. You just got to worry about that, but should be alright. I did a couple runs with this team. It seemed to work. But if you use other teams, this isn't a necessary team, and I'm going to be moving around stuff and trying to make a more free-to-play friendly team at a later date. But for right now, we'll just go with what I usually use. Like you just saw, the vampire did a skill 2, boost up the energy of everybody. And now it went just a little bit faster. And there you go. See that passive skill? Right up there at the top, he silenced a passive and the boss's main skill. That is the key to this run, is silencing that passive. You can do that, you got the run in the bag. And dead. And that's a 38-second speed run. That is a respectable time for almost any player. Could go a little bit faster if I used like Shaman or something like that, but this is just to give you an example of what Vampire can do. So whenever I say you can use another unit with a passive blocking, you can use Vampire. You can build him up for PvP for all those nasty little passives you see. And in this instance, it works the same. But it works with that. Now, here we go again. Same thing. The big thing for a lot of people that are fighting this boss, this passive right here. It does huge damage if you're not ready for it. But Vampire, yet again, completely knocks that out of the picture. So he can't do this skill, and he also silences the boss's other skill, which means this one doesn't get into play anymore either, which is really helpful as well. So now the boss is actually reduced really drastically, and makes it so you can do a little bit of a softer team or faster team. So as long as you do it like this, you have a chance to do quite a bit with this team. But everybody's got their own different team. I recommend Vampire built more HP and do it a little bit more careful because they can't. Oh, and there you go. Bone King's down. Let's see if we can actually still beat this. Oh, Sanguine Curse is up. So that worked. Now the passive is gone. And without the Bone King, this run will be a little bit longer if it's a pass. Oh, there goes the Spider Queen. And this is going to be a win. So even though we had a couple fails there, with a couple of our units dying on the way, still got a respectable 53 seconds. So if that gives you an idea, without bad RNG, we could have actually finished that a good bit. I'm actually going to keep that. The 6-star Agile runes are a pain in the butt to get. So we'll do it one more time, and then we're going to be ending the video. But this is just to give you an idea of what Vampire can do and why that silencing the passive is so good. So, like I said, there you go. Silences all those units' passives. Do that, and if you want, you can do the exact same thing all over again, and it will work pretty much every single time. You just have to be really careful about, you know. Oh, there goes Bone King again. Wow, they really love that guy. Oh well. So, that's about it. I mean, as long as you're careful and you build them right. No, don't put all that on there. Alright, there we go. That should be a win as long as they don't die in the next boss hit. Yep, there you go. Oh, he didn't put the silence down. And that's a good example of what happens if you don't put the silence on. But Like I said, you just got to be careful. As long as you keep the passive blocked, you win. If you don't keep the passive blocked, well, you run into issues like that. Well, there we go. Now they hit somebody else. Now we actually get to see what happens if Bone King actually survives this. And Sanguine Curse is up right off the bat. Oh, look at that. This should be a much faster run. So, this is basically what you really want for that team to work really, really well. This is an example of what would happen if you wanted the team to work pretty well. And there's better teams, faster teams, but this is just a good example. And there you go. A little bit better. 56 seconds. Yet again, another respectable team. So that's about it, everybody. That's why Vampire is so good, and I very strongly recommend building him for stuff like Catacombs. Thank you very much, and have a good day.